Hi there BookTube, it's Emma from Emma's Bookish Lifestyle, and today is a book haul video. This is a slightly different book haul video. A couple of them are from charity shops, a couple of them have been sent to me by publishers, and I just wanted to highlight something that I found on the Etsy store which has kind of made me smile a little bit, is a little bit unique. And for those of us, and I know there's a lot of us who carry around a book or a Kindle always about our person, it's something that I think might be of interest to you. That's my dog Conan. Hello Conan, say hello. This is Conan, he's my baby, my youngest one, and he's currently sniffing around because I'm filming on the floor. Anyway, he might possibly stay there for the whole video, who knows. So let's start off with the two books that I have had from the charity shop. So when I say charity shop, they came from my local doctor's surgery, and I met a lovely old man in there while I was waiting, and he said to me, I thought your generation only bought books on computers these days. I didn't think you liked paper books. And I had quite a nice chat with him about paper books and the fact that I obviously, before Kindle was even invented, I was a massive reader and always had paper books. So the first book that I bought is one that I saw on somebody else's channel. I can't remember whose channel, so I do apologise. It's The Readers of Broken Wheel recommend. Now, I've got a feeling it may have been Eleanor from Eleanor Reads, but I'm not 100%. And this is about a lady who goes from Sweden to America, I think it's Iowa, and decides to open up a bookshop. And the interactions and the implications of that bookshop and how that opens up the residents to different adventures and different lifestyles and different worlds, and also how it opens her up to different people, I believe, and obviously interactions. And I think there might be a little bit of a love interest, or a bit of a love interest in there. The other book that I got, sorry, I didn't tell you the author of that one, and that's by Katarina Bivold, B-I-V-A-L-D. The next book I got was The Taxidermist's Daughter by Kate Moss. I actually haven't read anything by Kate Moss, rightly or wrongly. I know many years ago she did the Labyrinth series, and I'd love to know what you guys thought of it. If you thought the Labyrinth series was really good, can you comment down below? By the way, that cheeky little monkey on the corner there is Drogo, my other chihuahua. Because I'd be interested to know, and if you've read any of her other fiction, because as I say, I haven't read anything. So this is The Taxidermist's Daughter, and this is about based in 1912 Sussex. I'm sorry, the light in the UK today is awful. The bank holidays are over. I thought I'd be able to get some glorious sunshine just to be obnoxious to those who've gone back to work today, but apparently not. And basically, I believe she's marooned in a decaying house and is tormented by her father, and he's an alcoholic, and I believe there's something in her childhood that robbed her of her independence, and so I think this could be quite a dark book. I'm quite interested in it, and as I say, taxidermy, not necessarily something I like, but you know, some people like it. Yeah, I think it's quite a different topic. So next on the list now are the books I've received from publishers, and I've been extremely fortunate. First of all, I won a book on a Goodreads giveaway, and this is Notes on Blindness by John M. Hull. Beautiful book. And this is obviously something that's been going around BookTube quite a bit. I'd added it onto my Goodreads as a to read, and when it came up as a competition or a giveaway, I was really fortunate and blessed to get it. So I'm looking forward to reading that. It's about a man who loses his sight, I believe, or is starting to lose his sight just as his son is being born. And obviously the implications and the impact that it has on his sight. And I think it's going to be quite an interesting book. I think it's just over 200 pages. So I don't think it will take me long. I don't think it will be a War and Peace for me. I think I'll be steering clear of anything over sort of 200 to 300 pages for a little bit after War and Peace. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a really good book. And I know it's been posted a lot on Facebook. And this obviously goes into John's sense of loss for losing his sight and how he manages his relationships and that sort of thing. So looking forward to reading that. The next one that I have is from Tilted Access Press. Recently I read the first in their series of books. I can't find it, let me see what it was. I don't think they do a list at the beginning like they do other books, but I read their book number 1 and I absolutely adored it. I loved it. I've put a review on here. I shall link the review either down there or put a review link up there for you. And it was an amazing book. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Ticked the box for me for translated fiction. I absolutely adore the unique cover art that they put on their covers. This is the one that I kindly got sent from Tilted Access, and this is The Sad Part Was by Prabdayun. It's probably one of the easier names to spell, Prabdayun, and it was translated by Mui Pupoksakul. I do apologise, these names are amazing, but trying to pronounce them sometimes is a nightmare. But yes, this is called The Sad Part Was, and apparently this is transcendental and answers questions while flickering with beautiful otherworldly images and flashes of deadpan humour. Now, I grew up in a family where the humour is dry, so I should be really looking forward to this. It's 186 pages and it looks like it is a combination of short stories, and I will definitely be doing a review on it when I get round to it, which will hopefully be quite soon after War and Peace. As I say, again, another short book, under 300 pages. Definitely a recovery book after War and Peace, but also in its own right, a unique style and a unique author, and amazing translated fiction from Deborah Smith and her team at Tilted Access Press. I have to say, I'm really truly loving these books. There is another one that's going to appear in one of my videos later. But yeah, I think I'm going to end up collecting those because they are amazing. The next book I've got is An Account of the Decline of the Great Auk, according to one who saw it. Now this is by Jessie Greengrass. Again, I was kindly sent it by the publisher. It got the Young Writer of the Year award by the Sunday Times, and again is a slight book. It's not a large book. I believe it's a number of short stories again. Yeah, it's 179 pages, and it says on the back, the 12 stories in this startling collection range over centuries and across the world. Some stories concern themselves with the present and the mundane circumstances in which people find themselves. A woman who feels stuck in her life imagines herself in different jobs, as a lighthouse keeper in Wales or as a guard against polar bears in a research station in the Arctic. Some stories concern themselves with the past, a 16th century alchemist whose arrogance blinds him to people's dissatisfaction with their lives until he experiences it himself. And finally, in the title story, a sailor gives his account of violent, occasional, funny and certainly tragic decline of the Great Orc. So, yeah, be interested to see. I know there's been mixed feelings on YouTube about this, but they're short stories. Again, slight book, not heard of this author, and when the publisher kindly sent that to me, I was really interested in it. So, last but not least, I've got 2 more books, but I also want to highlight to you an Etsy store. Now, this Etsy store is called Melvis Makes, and what Melvis Makes is the most adorable book cases. Now, these are completely fabric. They are, this particular size holds a standard paperback, and they are completely and utterly handcrafted inside and out, and they've got a level of padding to them, so also when they go into your handbag or your rucksack, or however you travel with your book, if you do travel with a paperback, it keeps it from getting all bent and scuffed and horrible. Now, I have a terrible OCD, and you'll be like, really? No, not you. Yes, I do. I'm terrible. I'm a book stroker. And not only am I a book stroker, I'm terrible about corners of books being bent over, spines of books being overly damaged. I swear to God, it doesn't matter how many times I read them, they ultimately do try and look as brand new as possible. That is, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I like them to look that way on the shelf. Anyway, this is another book that was kindly sent to me by the publisher upon my request. This is called Ararat, and it's by Christopher Golden. It's a headline book, and it says on the back here, Miriam and Adam take risks for a living, but neither is prepared for what lies in the legendary heights of Mount Ararat, Turkey. First to reach a massive cave revealed by an avalanche, they discover the hole in the mountain's heart is really an ancient ship buried in time, a relic that some fervently believe is Noah's Ark. Deep in its recesses stands a coffin inscribed with mysterious symbols that no one in their team of scholars, archaeologists and filmmakers can identify. Inside is a twisted, horned cadaver. Outside, a storm threatens to break. As terror begins to infiltrate their every thought, is it the raging blizzard that chases them down the mountain, or something far worse? Now, this is Ararat, by Christopher Golden. And I think it was Everest that I watched, which was turned into a film. And that has the same sort of feeling to it. I think it's going to be a sort of a fast-paced action thriller / archaeological identification, so that might be quite good. So that's one book, and as I say, that fits in this size. Now, I do have 2 more sizes of book. So this is the large size, and this is Cactuses, which I absolutely adore, and again has got the handmade interior. This time it's green dotty. And inside this I've got another book that was sent by the publishers called The Dividing Walls. Now, this is by Fran Cooper. She is she grew up in London, but she has been working in France and also studied in Cambridge, which is just down the road from where I live, well, 20-30 minutes. And what intrigued me was actually the byline for this book. I can actually hold this up because I do have a pub sheet for this. So it says, In a forgotten corner of Paris stands a building. Within its walls people talk and kiss, laugh and cry. Some are glad to sit alone while others wish they did not. A woman with silver blonde hair opens her bookshop downstairs, an old man feeds the sparrows on his windowsill, and a young mother wills the morning to hold itself at bay. Though each of their walls touches someone else's, the neighbours they pass in the courtyard remain strangers. Into this courtyard arrives Edward. Still bearing the sweat of a channel crossing, he takes his place in an attic room to wait out his grief. But in distant corners of the city, as Paris is pulled taut and with summer heat, there are those who meet with a darker purpose. As the feverish metropolis is brought to boiling point, secrets will rise and walls will crumble both within and without number 37. And this is These Dividing Walls. Now that sounds absolutely fascinating to me. Beautiful hardback book, no end papers or anything, and a very plain blue underneath. However, I like the premise of the story. This is published by Hodder and Stoughton, and I do quite like their books, and she is a debut author, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like. And obviously if you'd like me to review that quicker rather than later, then let me know and I'll move it up the pile. My TBR is swelling quite substantially at the moment. I can't tell you how many. And last but not least, I just want to show you the Melvis Makes, my final one, and that is my extra large. Now this, I can't tell you how adorable, is raccoons. And I've suddenly gone very orange. Sorry people, the lighting is terrible today. So this is gorgeous little raccoons and just a plain navy one. Now this fits my Kindle Fire HD, and it also fits a larger hardback book, and in fact, yeah, it does fit the larger hardback books. I think I have tried it before. I don't know why I didn't put one in as an example, but yeah. So this is Melvis Makes. They're quite nice little novelty gifts. I mean, I'm always carrying at least a book around with me. The problem is now that I've got these, I could end up carrying the world of libraries around with me. So I've got to refrain from doing that. But as I say, I will post Melvis Makes Etsy store down at the bottom as well. Go and have a look. She's a local British craftswoman. I'd love it if you could support her. And I'll speak to you soon, Butchie. Take care for now. Bye.